Yeah, that's quite people up. Thanks very much for taking time to come get an update on the condition of the flood. We had one of these community meetings on Sunday night at the Barham Club to let everyone know what was happening upstream, and we're working our way along the river. So there's been a couple of people concerned that all the efforts were being concentrated upstream and Barham was going to be forgotten. So we thought it would be a good idea to do a quick précis, which I understand will be repeated in the paper tomorrow, isn't it, good? The paper tomorrow is going to have the précis. Something like that, yeah. But you'll know tonight. So here we go. So we had a fairly big ramp up with resources at Barham on Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And it wasn't only resources for Barham, it was actually resources for the whole district because of the Edward River challenges we're going to have in Barham at the end of the month, and challenges in Barham here, and even some overland flows and other places. So on Tuesday, we met with police, rural fire service, local emergency management officers, and there was 3 of them, 2 police, 2 members of the SDS, Transport New South Wales, the New South Wales Public Works Advisory Group, a person who's a specialist on levies who knows all about the Barham levy, 9 engineering staff from Murray River Council, a comms person and Director of Community and EcoDev from Murray River, Alan Neighbours is the next councillor and knows a little bit about, or I should say heaps, about Eagle Creek, and also the Lower Murray Land Improvement Group, Roger Knight. We all met and discussed the following. So we discussed the SDS, RFS and Australian Defence Force personnel assistance from today, and that's been ramping up. It's been ramping up at a district level, but it'll be ramping up in Barham specifically. We discussed the amount of sandbags available. There was 5,000 as of yesterday, with a further 20,000 being delivered. And there was a semi-trailer, a taut liner, load of fill bags arriving too. There's been another update on the sandbags today, and another 100,000 sandbags arriving to our district. We discussed in detail the schedule of works along the levee being required to be completed between now and the 28th, from the lowest point and the high risk sections of the levee first. It's quite fortuitous and not by accident that we've got an engineering assessment of all the levee, and in that engineering assessment a risk measurement schedule which we can refer to. So we're not starting from ground zero. And there's Roger there.
Why wasn't I told that 3 days ago?
There's been a completion of a full inspection of the 14 kilometres of levees being planned, because we wanted to gain the latest condition assessment of the levees. There was also discussion about the raw water security in the river, meaning Barham's water supply. One of the big topics evolved around time management regarding the intervention required on the levees and the manpower and plant machinery required to deliver that. Road access. It's not news to people that the North Main Road usually just cut off Victoria's. There's a lot of roads in Victoria under duress at the moment, and we've seen through big roads, probably 8 out of 10 roads cut at some stage or other in the last 3 days, so that's a little bit of a challenge for us to stay on top of that. The predicted timing of the peak is currently the 28th, and I'll get SES to talk about that. We had a discussion on the effect floodwaters will have on other levees outside of Barham and the potential consequence. We also discussed the maintenance of continuity of the water and sewer operations. We had a failure in one of the sewage treatment stations on the weekend from rainwater, and there was some pretty here we had a failure in Barham, and one of our operators was able to fix that and save any further damage. We also had a discussion about waste management, particularly post-event. What usually happens post-event, because no one thinks about it, is half a year's supply of waste goes to a transfer station or a waste station, and the council of the day is not prepared for it. So with JJR Richard's assistance, they've sent down a specialist for emergency clean-ups from flood. It's just come from Lismore to assist the region with that, specifically MRC. We also spoke about moving the sandbagging operations. I understand it's just been moved again to packing. Is that right? Let's look at the SDS or Ricky to talk about that. So we've moved it twice. So I think it's just over there now. One of the difficulties we will have due to everything being waterlogged and just general access to the levees is that it's highly likely that we won't be able to use any wheeled earth-moving machinery. Everything will have to be tracked with tracked skid loaders, tracked drops, or excavators being used in areas that are too boggy for wheeled machines and too difficult for people to drag sandbags a long distance. We also spoke about evacuation locations, and in the event of an even bigger rise or level of the river, we've got an evacuation plan which was part of the levy engineering works that were being done, that included catastrophic break management. We also spoke, we've still got more work to do about levy bridge repair processes. Spoke about some public meeting that's happening right now, and also the fact that we're going to keep updated every morning with the 23 people that are running this from a lot of different services to make sure that the left hand knows what the right hand's doing amongst the action that's going to be going on. Now that was yesterday. I'm going to ask to talk about the consequences of today and what we've achieved today and what we're planning to do over the next little while, and then I'm going to flip to SES to talk about the bigger picture. Thanks, Ricky.
Thanks, Terry. So, further on from Terry's discussions that we had yesterday, today we've continued to walk the levy alignments, reviewing the structural integrity, starting at the highest points, and we could. That's all. Yep. And we're got a few sections to go.
That's the venue. That's nothing to do with me.
Sorry. Yep. And we've still got some sections to go tomorrow. We've got some additional resources coming up from Mama tomorrow to help.
You keep knocking the button.
Sorry, yep, there we go. Yeah, got some additional resources coming up. And then also after the peak in Mama, we've got some more other resources to help on the ground as well. We're continuing to pump from the Eagle Creek back into the Mirren, and that's going well so far. What else? Yeah, like Terry mentioned, the sandbag facility's moved over to Packham Avenue now. And then tomorrow too, we'll have further discussions with the SES and RFS to get some more resources and machinery on the ground. We've got some issues with some accessibilities to the levee bank with some vegetation and some water currently lying around. So they'll assist in help us with that to do some any works to the levee banks as required. And we'll just probably continue on from that tomorrow from further discussions with the SES. So I think we'll probably leave that for now.
Good evening, everyone. Keeps turning off. Every time I bring it up. Good evening, everyone. So my name's Shane Hargrove. I'm currently the Deputy Incident Controller for the New South Wales SES. What does that mean? Is we're running our operation out of Deniliquin for this part of the world, and we have been doing so for the past few weeks. Our local crews have been working for quite some time. I guess the situation is, as most of you would have heard throughout the news and what's being put through from the warnings from the Bureau of Meteorology. So the Bureau has been looking at the river from the rainfall that we've had well upstream of the Murray and watching those peaks as they come down, which obviously you've had within the area for quite some time. With the recent rainfall from Victoria, we've seen those rivers in Victoria start to move into the Murray. Currently the peak, I didn't touch that. Currently the peak is just upstream of Moama and expected to... Okay, I'll try and speak quietly. So it's upstream and we're expecting that to impact Moama over the next couple of days. Why is that important for you? It's important for the Barham community because the Bureau will be able to better forecast the peaks and expected timeframes for Barham. Currently, it's currently it's expected that currently it's expected for the end of October for it to reach Barham with a height of 6.2. So we'll look at that with the bomb over the next couple of days and in the next week. We're expecting at least 7 days travel time, and so as those peaks start to be defined, we'll be able to communicate that. To start off with, the bomb will communicate that through their warning system. We look at that and look at what the consequences will be for the Barham community. That then means that we publish our own internal bulletins, which you'll be able to see on our Hazard Watch website. So it's hazardwatch, all one word, .gov.au. Brand new system that we're using. We've had it for a few weeks for now, and it really helps us define the communication that we need to provide to communities. I'm sure you've seen it throughout what we've done with Moama, and if you haven't, have a look. You'll be able to see it's graphic. It'll give you an idea of what parts of the community we want to talk to. I guess impacts for Barham is that it's expected to be higher than 1993 and 2016. Looking at the consequences from especially the 2016 events, we didn't see too much impact within the town itself. Obviously, low-lying areas will get impacted as those creeks and the rivers swell. So it's been quite some time since we've seen these types of heights in the community. What that means is we need to anticipate and expect a change of the conditions and how the river reacts. So we're running off best intel for what we've gathered over the years, plus the recent flood study. You'll see a lot of decision making that we'll do over the next few weeks, really relying on that flood study. And that's the reason why we work with council so much about what we're expecting and what those consequences are. So at 6.2, it is very high on the levee. There are, as Terry mentioned, there are some low points which we need to do some mediation work for. 2 days ago, we started the conversation with Barham, whilst we're still dealing with with council, whilst we're still dealing with Moama. So our focus is definitely focused on downstream impacts to provide the community as much information as possible. So over the next few days, you've probably seen a bit of a rise in presence. So as of last night, Fire Rescue come into town on the request of the New South Wales SES as in-water rescue operators. So they're the people in the wetsuits that if you are in trouble, we have that capability and that coverage for your community, as well as the communities and the villages surrounding Barham. Throughout today, you would have seen an increased presence of the Rural Fire Service on top of the local brigades, which I need to put a big shout out for, that have really picked up the torch on behalf of the New South Wales SES. And David Lang and his team have been fantastic in supporting the New South Wales SES. So I caught up with David to personally thank him for the efforts of himself and the team, and we'll continue to work with Dave and his crew locally and bolster up the resources as the demands of the community increase moving forward. I guess we've also got ADF and our liaisons here that's come across from Deniliquin. We've formally requested the ADF to provide troops. So far, we should see them over the next few days out in Deniliquin, and the definite plan is to ensure that communities just like Barham have their hands on the ground to support you in the before, the during, and also the after. I guess you would have seen some helicopters flying around. So the SES have a range of helicopters. We currently have 4 based out of Deniliquin and are tasked generally by myself each day. Some of those helicopters have cameras, so I'm able to see exactly what's going on, and I task that as much as possible so I can see what's going on even if I'm in Deniliquin. So these days with technology, we have really good reach of what's happening. So over the next couple of days, the plan is to work with council to look at these low points. At this stage, that is our concern with the height that's predicted at that level. At that height, with those low points, it will impacting some of the community. We've met with specialists on levees over the last couple of days and really looked at defining what the risk is. At this stage, any risk of overtopping the levee has a no life threat kind of value to it. Doesn't mean that it is not risky, so there is still a risk and a possibility, but we're working over the next 7 to 10 days before the peak to do as much work as we can to protect the community with these higher levels. So you'll end up seeing more crews. They may not specifically be New South Wales SES. We have many of resources from the RFS and other agencies, including Surf Life Saving, Marine Rescue, etc. So we've really reached out to as much capability as we can, not just in New South Wales, but around Australia. From Western Australia, South Australia has been helping us out. As you would understand, Victoria SES is quite busy, and they've been doing the same. I can assure you that we have been communicating with Victoria SES. Obviously, we don't just forget the water as it passes through. It does have that impact on both sides. And noting that the people here today have good connections with Victoria and your sister town. So we understand that, and we'll do our best to ensure that we're communicating as effectively on each side. I believe they had a community meeting earlier on today as well, which shows that we're trying to do the best we can in ensuring that both sides of the river are communicated with. In regards to sandbags, so I understand that some sandbags may not have been available. I'm sure you would have heard about how many sandbags have been pushed into Moama and how quickly they have been going out. I can say we've pretty much exhausted most of New South Wales in regards to sandbags, but we've been doing our best in getting sandbags here. So as Terry mentioned, 100,000 on their way to Deniliquin now, expected to be in here tonight, with another 50 to 60,000 coming in the following day. We've brought in on top of the 20,000 over the last couple of days. We've brought in another 4,000 today and another 4,000 coming in tomorrow. That's on top of 600 already filled sandbags for immediate support. As we mentioned, we've moved from the SES compound down just across the field. Reason for that is better access, ingress and egress as we start to get to the peak, to ensure that your safety is what we're thinking of. The sandbags that have been filled so far, we encourage as much as possible to utilise what you can, but feel free, I can't express it enough, for members of the community, come down, pick up some sandbags, and if you do have some time, please fill some sandbags for your community, especially the elderly that, it makes it a bit hard to fill sandbags. But community spirit has been something that's been a massive cornerstone of all the response agencies and our response as the New South Wales SES. So we encourage that as much as possible and want to support that with whatever we can do to provide for the community. Additional work that we've been doing from the New South Wales SES side is we've officially declared an emergency area along the Murray River. So that will start from Tokemwall down to Murray Bridge downstream of Barham. The intention for that is to ensure that, especially once the rivers are high and close to the levee, that wash is limited as much as possible. So I hope that's welcome news. I understand that may impact some recreational activities, but I guess it is quite an involving and dangerous situation along the river, especially as we see the peak. I guess that's pretty much what we're working so far. We'll continue that work and continue to communicate with the community. This meeting today is quite early on from where we normally communicate with communities for, so very excited that we're able to actually make this happen for tonight and get such a big turnout. So from the New South Wales SES, I thank each and every one of you for coming out and receiving information. And I implore you to continue to stay informed, prepare as much as possible, and please contact 132 500 if you do require assistance. And yeah, like I mentioned before, it may not be the New South Wales SES, but we've got our coordination centre, which is coordinating all our emergency services from New South Wales and Australia to help you out. In saying that, I will be increasing the New South Wales SES presence in town. That's a part of me being here today and making the effort to come across to speak with you personally. I guess around that topic, I have been working, so part of my day job is the Deputy Zone Commander who looks after this patch, and something we've been working on for quite some time is raising our membership in the Barham community. We have a fantastic facility that some of you have probably been to throughout today. There's boats and all the equipment there ready to go. All I'm missing is some very keen and excited community members. So I guess my call out, while I've got the attention of majority of the town, is if you do wish to roll up your sleeves and join the New South Wales SES, I will be more than happy to have some conversations later on this afternoon. It's something that I'm very proud to make sure that we get that community spirit within the communities we serve, especially when there's a flood risk. So I hope that there's some members of the community today that are pretty keen to join up. Got a pretty good unit sitting there ready to go, and obviously throughout these periods, and it's usually every 4 to 6 years, there's a lot of work to do, and I'm sure Dave's team at the RFS can contest to the work that's been happening over the last little while. If there's any members of the community that has management and leadership experience, I'm more than happy to have those conversations. So if you are keen, we are definitely keen to provide the support, the training and the equipment to members of the community that would like to help their neighbours, not just in floods, but in storms. And the Barham area is quite a big area, and especially down in Moama, Deniliquin being our bigger base, there's always support around the corner, and we'll appreciate any membership that we can drum up. Feel free to visit our website to do any applications, or come and see me personally. I'm more than happy to have any conversations up here a little bit after. That also includes any conversations, concerns, questions you have about the floods. I'll be up here. I'll stay as long as you all need me for. And I just, again, want to thank you all for making the time for coming out, and believe we'll move to questions afterwards. Yep.
We've actually done over 6,000 sandbags.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Dave. Cool. So yeah, I guess I'll field some questions to start with, and I'll pass off to the council or any of the other liaisons that I've got here today.
If anyone has any questions, I am running with the mic. I'll come down now.
Okay, cool.
I live outside the Barham area, out East Barham Road, and in 1993 to 2016, I think there might have been one around 2011, flood came through, and it was at the top of the levee bank.
Okay.
That was manageable. You're talking 8 centimetres higher, and I haven't been able to get one sandbag here, not one.
Okay.
So I don't know how anybody else is going, but I've been flying for 2 days, not one sandbag.
No problem.
So
Yep.
that'd be helpful, and it would also be helpful if we're going to get 8 centimetres over the last existing flood, a bit of a hand outside the Barham area would be grateful.
Yep, yeah, definitely. I'll just repeat the question for online. So, gentlemen advised that outside the levee, outside out on the Barham Road, and the 93 flood was quite up to the level. Predictions are quite higher than that. What are we doing to ensure that that it's there? So, in regards to the levee, I will pass over to the council. I guess in regards to the sandbags, just check with Dave. We've got plenty over there now for collection ASAP.
We need to sort that out, yeah. So what we're actually going to do, how many are going to give out, and how it's all going to work.
Yep, cool. So I guess we're filling up as many sandbags as we can to do both the work on the levee to raise to try and address that concern of raising that up, but also for the community. So I'm pretty comfortable. Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, so we've got empty sandbags over there already.
But some sandbags, we've still got enough, as I've sort of said, there's 500 houses.
You want to come up? You want to come up here?
I think they probably hear me. 500 houses in Barham, they all have 25 sandbags each. There's 12,000 sandbags we haven't had anywhere near that yet. Okay, we've only had 10,000 in, not even 10,000 in Barham yet.
Yep.
Right, so that's something.
Yeah, and we're definitely working on bringing them down. So today, I believe we have, or 4,000 empty sandbags should have been delivered today. So we'll feel free to come across there, and I'm happy to open that up this afternoon once we finish up here and provide that access to you. And we'll continue to work on that levy question.
Okay, just between questions, could I also ask everyone to keep the tally down on your phone quiet? There's a lot of interference for those listening online. Thank you.
Yeah, so my question first to be cancelled. Like there's 4 hours on the phone not yesterday, but the day before. And I've got absolutely just shuffled around constantly to the point of being 3 hours on the phone yesterday, ended up at the Premier's Department, the Inventory and Land Department, and several others, and including the SES, they told me it wasn't their problem because they only deal with emergencies. I reckon I was 2 a.m. this morning to get here, and I'm really not pleased with the process today, because obviously we have the information, or it appears that way, that your bureaucracy does not get it out the door. And I'm serious, I've been 7 hours on the dial.
Yep. Okay. All right, I'll pass over to council.
What's the question?
Just around, I guess, getting information from. So he spent quite a few hours on the phone.
Okay, I'll just use that one's still live. I'll just use my voice. Since late Saturday afternoon until now, there's probably been 2 people on our customer service. Everyone else is either filling sandbags, defending their own homes, or working with other sections of council to do what they've done in Moema over the last 3 days. We're actually shutting the customer service tomorrow because we've got no staff left. They're all out doing flood stuff. It's still going to be shut on Monday as well. So although I appreciate...
You know, this building has come through, so I guess over the next few days we'll be looking at that. It will be all included within our emergency information that we've got through. I guess something that we've got to consider for this event is the road network and also what's happening in Victoria. So what we need to do is get a really good understanding about the timeline of events and ensure that if we do need to, what is the best road access, noting that most of the road accesses will be impacted by water at some point in time. And with Vic happening, so I believe Vic, their evacs down to Bendigo, so the issues that may have as well. So that will be something that we confirm. It's been a little while since the flood plan work, and things have changed between then. So we'll look at what the best option is, and that will be communicated within our messaging. So at this stage, there is a part. If it is in the flood plan, there's 2 scenarios: whether the levy holds or whether the levy doesn't hold. So either scenarios, there is the high part of town, which is pretty close to the town levy. And that's where the evac centre is at the moment. Whether it's got enough room and capacity for the beds is a different story, and that's what we'll work on over the next few days, and that'll be a part of our communication. I guess our plan, as we're still working through and getting the information, is likely another community meeting closer to the peak, where we've got more assurance from BOM, and we've had that chance to go through all that new data and come up with that strategy. So I believe we spoke today about doing a new one of these closer to the peak, where anxiety is going to raise as the water started to come up as well. Not looking that way yet. I'll come back over there. Right.
Can I just get clarification from the local ASES, about these sandbags? Because my understanding is that initially or essentially the sandbags at the moment are for the levy and not for community public or public?
Okay, so we did. So the question was about access to the sandbags, and that the sandbags that have been prepared over the last little while was just for the levy. I did hear that personally myself this morning, and we've been in contact with council and the RFS locally. So I guess a lot of this, for the work on the levy, there will be a lot of sandbags. So essentially, we're doing a lot of sandbags, but it's really for the community as well as the sandbag work on the levy. So at this stage, I guess yesterday we were struggling with getting sandbags in, and that's not just into Barham, that's into pretty much everywhere, especially into Niliquin. I'm not sure if you've seen the photos of Coles down to Niliquin and Mawema. We've got the same issues with bringing freight, dress me up, freight down, including sandbags. So at that stage, that was probably what we're looking for, but we're getting a lot more sandbags come through. And I guess looking at the amount of people that's rocked up today, and that coming to me throughout today, which if it comes to me, it's pretty important. That, you know, we have the ability, we've got the teams, we're bringing in further teams, and we're getting those resources to be able to supply throughout. I guess the lessons we learnt is that those sandbags fly out pretty quickly, and we want to ensure that it's getting to the places that we need to. We want to ensure that we're building up that levy as much as possible to protect the town at the same time as protecting the properties and creating that reassurance for the members of the community. So at this stage, and as I discussed a little bit before, more than happy for some of those sandbags to start going through, but it will be a juggle between the work that we're doing with council to protect the levy as well as that. So we will do the utmost that we can to continue that supply to meet the demand of the community as well as the work that we're doing with the levy.
Thank you. Okay, the roving mic is not working now, so please bear with me. If you keep your hands up, I will make sure everyone's questions get answered, but I'll come to you one by one, and I'll yell the question if needed.
There was one over here. Okay. Sorry, we will get you.
This information can be got through on the TV. We're getting a lot of all the Victorian stuff, but we're on my Facebook. For people like my mother who are elderly, watch the TV, and they often have the caption along the bottom.
Yep.
And we need to know what's going on in Victoria to know where we can go.
Yep.
We get very little of the New South news because it's based out there. So I think that would increase people's awareness. Also, if people know, they're not going to be as concerned. They would
Definitely.
look at things being very transparent. And I see that and have seen it for many years as a big pitfall.
Yep.
And that's probably partly why we've got such a huge area.
Definitely.
Because we're not getting a lot on
Do you want me to answer that?
what comes through.
Beautiful. Oh, no, I'm good for it.
And can you still rephrase for the answer?
Question in relation to media presence around that. You know, we're getting a fair bit in town from Victoria, and I guess the need to increase the communication on New South Wales side. So 100% agree. I'm usually got a camera stuck in my face, so yep, yeah, definitely. Definitely, no, fantastic point, and I'll reach out. So I have a media team attached to me, so I'll make sure that we get those contacts and start pushing through. Some of the radio we do is usually a chat with the Vic and then a chat with the New South Wales. So, yep, beautiful, no worries. So fantastic question, and I'll definitely take that back, and hopefully. Quite quickly, we'll see a change, and that may help with some of the questions on the information flow. Thank you. Yes.
We had no information. We get all this crap through, 4, 6, 8 inches, all this stuff comes through. And my 1993 we had a full river, and there was an 11-inch rainfall event in the Golden Valley, and they rang me up and said, we're going to get 6 inches down the river, and I said to Jack Keck at the time, I said, well, we're knackered. Half an inch it rose. At the moment, and I haven't had time to have a look at the flood bank again today, there's no water in the bush.
Yep.
Very little water in the bush. It's all coming down the river. I was talking to a mate out at Green Hills Lane, he said there's no water there. I said, well, this river's been up for months.
Yep.
For weeks, sorry, not months. Where's it going? So the question is whether this circus is a flood bank and the ridiculous, I shouldn't judge it, I know, but the levies and shit that's put in out there, what has that done to our community? Because I just don't, 4-inch rainfall event is a big event, but we're seeing river levels that I've never seen in my life now. So I just question that, but we really need somebody coordinating this thing, or talking to me, because I'm you know, my boys are out there filling sandbags, and Bill, we've got sandbags out there through Elders. They're not sandbags, they're actually seed bags, but they're bags. And we've got a hoop full, I'll drop some off to you. But, you know, that is a disappointing thing. I don't blame David. David's one of the most hard-working local blokes you'll ever find around here.
Yep.
But we should have had him. I mean, I don't know whether it's a tube or Moama or what it is, but the main thing that I want to raise is that river is not doing what it used to do.
Yep. Yep. That's good. Good point. So a lot of points around the you know what has happened, the levees, as well as not a lot of water out in the forest. So I guess we're anticipating that will fill up with the surge that's coming through on its way, and that's our anticipation, is that will occur. In regards to the access to sandbags and support. Yep.
Why isn't it out there? Because people in Kundrooka, you know, they're getting prosecuted for Christ's sake for putting up a levy that was there. You know, I can't understand this whole. I'll try not to get emotional. But, you know, you've got people in peril and they're talking prosecution for Christ's sake, whereas we should be, as a community, prosecuting the bastards that set that thing up out there if it's not letting enough water out of the system.
That's you guys want a question? So great point. And what I'll do is I'll look at investigating the reasons why. So like I said, we've got helicopters to be able to have a good look and see what are the reasoning, and we will work with the council, who does a lot of the engineer work as well as hydrology. So I'll try and bring those groups together and take that point on notice. If I can have some, have a word with you a little bit afterwards, just to get those finer details. Make sure that information gets passed down to you, because obviously that's a very strong point, and appreciate you for raising that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Question over here, please.
Sorry, I think we're over there.
Thank you.
Okay. Hypothetically, we're hoping it's hypothetical. If the levee breaks, how are we going to be notified? Preferably before you step in the water when you get out of bed, if it happens during the night. How are we all going to know that we have to vacate?
Yeah,
the TV won't be on, the phone won't be on, so how are we going to know if it's during the night?
Yeah, so I guess the process that we use is a slow escalation of warning levels. So we'll start with prepare to evacuate, which is usually at least 12 to 8 hours before we're expecting.
If the levee breaks though, how long have we got if it's right in town?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we're not expecting a big deluge of water. So what we'll look at is a combination of media as well as door knocking. So usually what happens is we identify the areas most likely at risk, and that will be depicted in our polygon. The process is, door knocking. Sometimes we've got using, local assets plus any assets that we've got in town to go through streets with the PA system. We've also got the use of what we call emergency alerts, which will send a text message to all mobile phones in the area that are attached to a address within the broader town, as well as an automated call to the landline. So in the event of a levy breach where life is at risk or property is at risk and we need you to evacuate, we'll pretty much be running as much as we need, and we've got access to all that without any issue. If we do need to do any evacuation, our plans are to do it before the end of daylight the day before. We're doing the best that we can to make sure that if any property is even at risk of a spill or an overtop or a little breach. Yeah. So the other thing that we do is working with council and our other emergency services is we do like levy walks. So as that comes up to that high and close to those times that we may see that and it's a heightened risk, we'll generally be doing that. So our information gathering should be quite quick, and then our ability to pass that information down and provide pretty succinct information about who needs to get out and when will be activated pretty quickly. Reason we've got 5. Yep. Yes, so yeah, definitely that's a strategy that does get used. Probably need to make sure we can test it over the coming days if that is a risk. But yeah, we use all means that we can to get that out to the community. But fantastic question, thank you.
Thank you. Next question over here.
Yep.
Can you just yell out your question, sir?
Where do we find out the height of our level of our slant in relation to the height of the river?
Yep.
If it's 1 bag, 2 bag, 3 bag?
Cool. Don't know if in the flood safe they've got the floor heights.
Yeah, look, great question. I don't think we have the information readily available for every block that we could go and look on a map straight away. There would be heights within building assessments that have been done over the years. Some assessments could be made, but again, to go in and find all that information out of files while council stretch them would be very hard. But we can work with people who are heavily concerned in areas to go and find that information so that we can help assess how high sandbags or temp levy banks may need to be built, for sure. Thank you.
Great question, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question?
I've got a suggestion. I attended the meeting over in Pembroke.
Okay. Yep.
And if you register, an elderly person registers and puts their name down and the address and the telephone number, and if you need help, could you set up something like that?
Yeah, so we would likely either if the evacuation centre is here or we look at other places, the registration point will still likely be in town.
But to actually put it on paper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the Bendigo is evacuation centre in Victoria, in Kundrook,
yep.
And Swan Hill is the one, but they're worried about the Bodden. By the time they get to the water, gets to Benjaroo, it's going to go under.
Yep.
How do we get to Swan Hill? Through New South Wales.
Yeah, so great question, and as I said, I've got in contact with the Vic SES. So if that's still a question, unfortunately that's not a question that I can answer, but more than happy to reach out.
Yeah, the lady can take you up to you.
We can chat afterwards if we want. Yeah, more than happy to have those conversations after. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
I think we had a question down here. Sorry, I will come around.
Just yell out.
No, I was just going to raise that I was on the flood committee, and the 1 in 100-year flood level, which is about based on 1917 at Barham, 6.22 metres, even a dam break levy at 6.22 metres. It doesn't inundate the CBD of Barham.
Yep.
And even a catastrophic 1 in 10,000 year flood event at 6.4 metres does not flood the CBD. So there'll be still services in the middle of the town. So
Yep.
I think that's
correct. Yep.
what people need to
Definitely.
know.
Thank you. We have another question down here. Let me just speak into this for everyone online. Thank you.
Just a question regarding the Eagle Creek. Just wondering if the Eagle Creek were to be breached, I wonder what flood height would go down the Eagle Creek and how far would that impact on the Hudson Creek and I guess all the creeks downstream from the Eagle Creek. I understand they're currently pumping out the bottom of the Eagle Creek into the Merrin, but I was just wondering if it was actually breached, what would the impact be?
Cool. So it's probably a council question, but it's definitely something that we've identified in our questioning. Yep. So it's definitely something that we're looking for, and we'll obviously have a plan to enact for it.
Yeah. Does this work?
You just got to talk into it. I just got to hear from your voice.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I'm heavily involved in the Eagle Creek, and the scenario Ian is talking about. We're very well aware of that. There's an awful lot of work going on in Eagle Creek. We've got 4 pumps at the bottom. There is flood levees on either side of the Eagle Creek, all the way from the top of town. Our biggest concern from an Eagle Creek perspective is above the cutting, which most people locally will understand. If we get a breach somewhere up there, I've spent all day today walking that. There are some challenges, but there's nothing up there, I think, that at a 6.2 metres we can't handle. There are people up there doing work. The Brigham Channel then comes into play, and that's another story again. So for my mind, a 6.2 metre peak is still manageable. If it's greater than that, then we need, but the higher the river gets, the more it spreads out.
Yep, correct.
And that goes back to Phil O'Neill's point about the forest issues. I do think the choppers need to survey that forest. I think the problem is more to do with log jams in the forest. It has never had a decent fire through it in a long, long time, and it's clogged up to buggery. And I think that's a forestry issue. But at this stage, there's a lot of good work being done around Eagle Creek, and I won't go into the details of that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
So those log jams and beaver dams, they're everywhere in the forest now. Forestry can't do anything about it. It's Sydney EPA, and they won't allow vehicle access in there to remove those log jams.
No worries, yep. So I believe we touched on that the other day with a bit of our pre-planning meeting. So thank you, and I'll chase that up and see what could be done or what effects that may have, and that'll be a part of our next meeting. I guess thank you for your time. I know there's a couple of extra questions, so please feel free to come up afterwards. And if you have any questions, we're happy to field any questions. Thank you again. Safe travels.